Welcome, Pat. We are back and we are here. I thought we'd rush on before the presidential debates because we didn't want to give people the choice of do I watch a debate? Do we watch us?
I
Um,
know.
I mean, they obviously we would have won that one, but
Yeah, I'm glad you did make it a 5 o'clock thing, so people didn't. The millions of people that do watch us don't have to be up in such a tough decision.
yeah,
These
we,
are
we don't like conflict. But speaking of conflict, we're going to talk about what's going on in Florida with these condos. And why Florida? Well, I've never seen anything like it. And then we're going to look at our market and go, can something like that happen here? I'm going to dive in a little bit about HOAs and condos, as I know you will too. And because we're just always surprised at what comes up when it comes to condos and condo certification. And then Blue Pool, our first comment here, we're probably going to address this in a couple minutes, but Biden's minions have begun rate reductions as debate and election looms. The current 30-year mortgage rate 6.87. It did dip down a little bit. Now it went back up. And trust us when we say Biden doesn't make phone calls and adjust rates. No president has control over interest rates. So I will leave that there, although I do appreciate the comments. But you've heard about this, Pat. Look at this condo here. These are down in Florida. The poison pill facing Florida condo owners. Imagine being a property owner. Blow this up just a little bit while I read it. Who's humming along, paying the mortgage, and then getting a letter from your homeowners association informing you of a 6-figure assessment. Now imagine you don't have the money. Well, that'd be the case. But under the HOA rules, failing to pay the assessment means losing your unit via foreclosure. However, selling the unit will be nearly impossible once you disclose the assessment to the potential buyers. How much was the assessment? $224,000. And this one guy says, his name's Jeffrey. He says, this guy named Konitz said his condo fees have jumped from $1,500 to $3,000. Then he was hit with an assessment of $224,000. Condominium owners share ownership of the common areas. So his HOA fees were going up anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got hit with $224,000. And one of the reasons is, as you know, that big collapse that they had in Florida down there. And now they've all got to bring their buildings up to speed, and they're doing it all at once. It's like they're rebuilding the damn place.
Yeah.
So they're not fixing the roof and giving you a special set. They haven't been budgeting money at all at these condos.
No. Yeah, that's the thing is, I guess DeSantis passed a law, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know when or did, about obviously especially the condos, the restrictions, what they've got to do. The government came in and said, you got to do this. And that's a problem. I mean, that's a problem. I mean, just alluded to, we were talking about that. We just got an email today from one of our LOs. I'll quote unquote it. I'll read his email. It says, I've got a condo deal right now. Everything is great. Appraised 40,000 above. Borrower is 25% down. Income is cleared. Then the HOA sends a document that 12 owners are 60 days plus behind on special assessments, and we need it to be 7 or less. Now this perfect fast closing is getting gutted. The seller buyers are deciding if it's going to work for them to paying a total of $11,650 between them to catch up the HOA special assessments for the other homeowners, I guess. So
I wouldn't.
I
wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, as I've said before, I mean, I've said this for the last couple of years. Condos are definitely a special, and I think I've said this probably how many times have I said it kind of ad nauseum probably as far as condos. You've got to be, you got to be careful with condos because you've got special assessments, you've got other units, you've got the FHA if it's FHA approved, Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac approved. And a lot of times the condo associations don't. The HOA associations are typically third-party companies that are off property, and quite honestly, they don't really give a rat's patootie as far as when they're going to get the documents to you. So, because you can submit. I mean, you had this situation with some condos where they'll wait 3-4 weeks before a week and a half before closing, and then all of a sudden something pops up. So it's just they're going to have to do something, because I think this regulation that they had come down is too overextending, too broad. I mean, I don't know what the solution is, but you're gonna see more issues like this with the condos pop up more and more the next year or so.
Well, they already got hit with huge insurance rising rates down there. And now not only condos, but HOAs in general. And there are these villas in Sun Lakes. And I want to show you this. I clipped it off from the listing. I didn't want to put the address or anything else up there. But check this out. This is what it says on the MLS, okay? HOA is quarterly, $605. That's HOA number 1. There's a special assessment, yes, $1,887 quarterly. Starts April 3rd, ends December. So it was for the roof for the entire year, but now she's obviously paid, up till April, and paid her Q1 special assessment $1,800. Then on top of that, you've got $1,346 semi-annual. Then you've got an HOA 2 transfer fee of $400. This is all your upfront costs as you're moving in. Now, the special assessment, that's negotiable. I wouldn't pay it if I was buying. Capital improvement fee, as a buyer, you have to pay that. That's $5,384. Look at all these fees. I mean, you got total monthly equivalent fee of $426 and a capital improvement fee of $500. But what gets me about this place was built in the year 2004. So for 20 years, they didn't budget to have the roof underlayment replaced. Had plenty of time to set money aside. Now, of course, we had the Great Recession that came in 2008. I don't think that really affected an over 55 community like it did everywhere else, but there was plenty of time for them to budget and set this money aside. And now they're coming up and going, well, we're going to have to hit you with this special assessment. And that's a problem, because now you got to ask yourself, okay, this particular development, the HOA covers your roof, your common areas, all your landscaping, and street maintenance. Okay, well, if they're going to have to come in and put another coat on the street, do they have money for that? I bet they don't. I bet they come back and they hit you with another special assessment. I mean, I would assume if they don't have the money for the roof, that they don't have the money for that. And then getting these condo certs filled out, some of them are getting better at it, but they're kind of slow. And there's the other thing to worry about in Arizona too, they're trying to change this, is if 75% of the owners vote to sell their units to a rental company, you have to go along. So if you're in a condominium complex and you notice that there's like a rental office there too, and the majority of your neighbors are on non-owner occupant, 75% of them can vote to sell the entire complex. Now, I had this happen to one gentleman that I sold a house to up in the Central Phoenix area, and he called and he was just having a fit. I go, well, wait a minute. You paid cash for this thing. How much are they offering you? And I said, that's a pretty good rate of return. I would take that right away, because they gave him a decent price for it. But he had his son going there, staying there, going to ASU. I go, well, go buy another place. But what happens, there were some people that sank a lot of money into their units, and now they're upside down with what they were offering them. Yeah. And so there's nothing they can do about it. They had a vote. We're selling it. Here's your offer. Take it or leave it. Yeah. And these poor people in Florida, they can't sell it. Here, I'm going to sell you this condo for $275,000, but you'll have to pick up this $224,000 special assessment. Either that, or I'm going to have to kick in some money. Nobody's got that kind of equity in a condo. Yeah. And I'll bet that's not the only example either.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if there's one example like that, there's probably 10,000 others.
Well, I'm looking here. If I could look at our market here, I mean, this is our active listings. What's going on with just condos? And you can see they're taking kind of the same path. We have 2,552. And then if I look at days of inventory, we're at 86.8 for all dwellings. If I just pull this off and pull up condos, that number goes up a little bit to 92. But you can see that the days on market for condos has gone up quite a bit, as it has for single family houses. And seller concessions to buyers right now in total is 48% for an average of $9,400. Again, if I filter in just condos, how much are people giving back for concessions for condos? 39%, and they're giving $6,600. So they are asking for concessions in the condo market. And so it kind of mirrors single families, but beware of those HOAs. Now, all these fees have to be disclosed to you. There is an HOA disclosure document that you'll get that you have to talk to your agent about. Make sure you understand every number that's on that, because there's nothing worse getting at the signing table saying, I agreed to what? Because some people just sign things too fast. The HOA transfer fee, unfortunately, buyers have to do that. Now, why do they do that? The over 55 communities are kind of famous for that, Pat. They have a lot of turnover. And so rather than, as they try to improve their facilities and maintain things, rather than raise your HOA fee every quarter, they hit the buyers with a capital improvement fee, and it helps pad the bank account. People don't seem to mind that. You get in, your HOA fee kind of stays steady, and the constant turnover of new buyers coming in helps pad any capital improvements they have to do later. Except that didn't seem to work for that one development in Sun Lakes that needed a roof, because capital improvement doesn't fit into that. That was just real poor management from what I could see. And so the market is, let's see, what's our word for 2024? Muddling?
Muddling, yeah. Muddling along.
We have taken muddling to a whole new level. And you can see our new listings ticked up just a little bit here, 7-day moving average, and our new contracts went up. But we've got a ratio between the two of 78%. Not bad considering where everybody thought we were going to be. And everybody's, oh, it's slow. It's terrible slow. It is slow, but you can see by this chart, it's higher than it was a few months ago. I mean, these were down here in the 2200s every 7 days. And now we're up to 2700. So it depends on your market, the part of town and everything and what's going on. But price changes are showing that people are getting a little more realistic with their prices, because there's just not as many buyers out there. So they're pulling them back down. But the average sales price when it goes under contract doesn't seem to be dropping. No,
it's definitely the case. I mean, in terms of rates, I mean, we've been just muddling along here. We had the 5.5 coupon today, up 15 basis points. This is a 3-month activity on prices. Here's where we're at with this is a 3-month chart on rates. We obviously hit a peak around April 25th. We've been in this channel. There's this channel here that we've been stuck in between 4.2 and about 4.5, give or take. Obviously you peaked up here at about 4.56 on May 29th, but it's just been muddling along. And I think, you're seeing this is the 10-year treasury chart, the last 6 months, and how we're just kind of moving along here. I just think we're going to be more of the same. I don't see anything. We got the PCE numbers coming out tomorrow. That could obviously be a big. Obviously, it could be an interesting number, but the way things have been somewhat settling out, it seems as though we're kind of getting in this trend where rates are just kind of in the high 6s, low 7 range. I mean, we got taking this one lender out here, next bank, 5% down, 780 FICO score, purchase price 475. We're still in the about the 699 range, 7. We've been there for a while. There's nothing, that's obviously everybody's situation would change with, your loan program, how much you're putting down, your credit score. Certainly if you do a 2-1 buy down, but it just feels as though on our end, obviously things are muddling along. I don't see we're, I heard from Jeb and Josh, the other YouTube people that, we kind of check in on, Josh was saying that, he feels like we're kind of in a supply demand recession with housing, but Josh made a good point. He said, if we see, houses, he was given the estimates for this next 12 months or next 6 months going into 2024 and 2025, the estimates are, 1% growth to 4% growth. Josh was saying, if we see 0% growth in the next 2-3 years, is that really a bad thing? Maybe we'll let the market,
that'd be
let the market catch up to what we've had in 2021 with the, the 15-20% increases. So, for people that want to sell,
it would still work out.
Yeah, it'd still work out. I mean, so the more you look at this market, we've been for the last couple of years, we've always had the crash bros out there say we're going to see the market crash 15-20%.
But they get to keep using the same thumbnails, though.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. And you always got to make up new ones to put some fire under everybody's, what are they going to watch today? But, it's just the same old. And, I think looking back, what Josh said is actually not a bad thing. Obviously, if rates do come down, the biggest push we're going to see with demand is if rates do get down. If something happens later this year, early next year, it does seem like inflation is, for lack of a better term, it's still there. We're still at 3 or 4% inflation. I think we're high, obviously we've been higher. That means basically we still have, the cumulative effect as prices are up 20-25%. So until we start seeing negative numbers, that's when you start to see prices come down. But we're not going to see that. But worst case scenario with housing prices, if they're just flat, that's not a bad thing for a buyer that can actually put things together, get some money together, or make a plan of attack, and they can actually decide on what they want to do. Like we've said the last 6, 7, 8 months, that this is not it's more of a stable market, which is not a bad thing for really either party. And hey, real quick, I had a buyer that called me today or the other day, and he's like, yeah, I'm out looking, because he said, I think the best time to buy a home in Phoenix is when it's 115 degrees or during Christmas time.
The worst time to show a home in Phoenix is during monsoon season.
Yeah.
Guess where people put the lockbox? They hang it over the hose bib, and the hose bib's underneath the roof, and nobody has gutters here. So you have to walk through Niagara Falls to unlock the box.
Yeah.
And you just have rain just pouring down on your head. You go, I got the key.
Yeah.
I've had that happen so many times. But the thing that's hanging over our head on the industry is this doggone Burnett Sitzer lawsuit, not being able to put any seller commissions up there that they're offering buyers. And now the Department of Justice is getting involved. They're telling California they can't use the form that they designed. And I just, for the life of me, can't understand why the Department of Justice is sticking their nose in this.
Yeah.
These are contracts between two people. It's a real estate contract. What are you doing? And they feel like if you have more transparency, so they're getting more transparency by not showing the buyer agent commission now. So that's the opposite of more. Now we don't have any idea what it is, if any. So we have to call and go, hey. So every house they got, hey, we have to have an agreement with the buyer that says, okay, what are we going to do if they're not offering a buyer commission? How much are you willing to pay me? Because I don't work for free. And you have to put that out ahead of time. For us, that's going to happen in our market August 1st. And those agreements that you sign with your agents, don't worry, you're not locked in for a year. You can say, hey, I'm willing to do this for 2 weeks with you and see how it goes if you want. So, but the idea that this is going to make things better for buyers is ludicrous. And the idea that it's going to lower actual prices on homes is even sillier than that. If I'm listing let's say your home's worth $500K, Pat, and now you don't have, you never had to in the first place offer a buyer agent commission. You didn't have to. But now let's say that you're just going to offer zero. Okay. Nothing. How much are you going to list your house for?
Same price.
Yeah.
Oh.
People are not going to say, okay, 500K minus 2.5%.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll put the price down there. They're not going to do that.
No.
It's going to go, oh, let's see if I can hang on this. And then the buyer's going to go, wait, I got to come up with 2.5% to buy that house. I mean, I was doing it in the past anyway, but it was rolled into the loan with the price of the home.
Yeah.
It's just it's gonna be a weird August and September and October, and every state. I've been waiting to see what the forms are that they're going to come out with, and they finally sent out emails today and saying, okay, we're agreeing with this settlement. We're going to send you the forms soon, like next week, and here's how we go about doing business. But it makes zero sense to me why the DOJ is, and it's just like, why did the Center for Disease Control come in and issue rent moratoriums? What have they got to do with real estate?
They did?
Yeah, remember when they did that during COVID?
Oh yeah.
You didn't have to pay your rent. It's like, wait a minute, I'm a landlord. My contract's not with you, CDC. It's with the renter. Let me work it out with them.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
So that one made me quite unhappy. So, but and Trump agreed to it, and he's a big real estate guy. It's like, what were you thinking? So it's going to be an interesting summer as we go along. Also, want to remind people on our website, rickhelps.com, right here at the top, you can download the May 2024 market report that's put out by Tom Ruff from the Arizona MLS, and you can look at all the statistics, get all the numbers. You don't have to fill anything out. You just click on that tab like I just did, and voila, there it is. You'll get commentary, notes. We're not grabbing your email or anything. I have some cookies on there. I know where you live after you go to my website. I may be over for coffee, but this is it's a good thing to spend some time reading. It gives you a little more detail. He also combines some of the information from the Crawford report. And I like my coffee black, by the way. So.
yeah. Hey, and also on that note, we got that property profile that if anybody, that we've sent out in the past year or two, if anybody has got property, their own home, what you've agreed that this 6, 7, 8 page profile is a pretty comprehensive. It's a great report to kind of give people just an idea.
Everybody we sent it to has really liked it. All I gotta do is just say send me an email and say here's the address. We take it from there. And it's now comps are tough. They're hard. We don't see the inside of the house, so it's like anything. It's an average, but it really shows you what the sales have gone over. Done in your neighborhood in a pretty detailed way. It's a little easier than zipping through Zillow. And then I was laughing the other day because there was a comment on a Facebook group. This agent goes, I got a house in Chandler and it's priced right and it shows nice, but nobody's looked at it. And one guy goes, well, I had a listing. I got 5 offers in 3 days. I had another one. I got 4 offers in 2 days. Like maybe you're not priced right.
Yeah.
So you've got to be priced right now. And priced right isn't price above the market. You got to price at the market or slightly below. When we'll start seeing more pricing pressure as the gap between new listings and new contracts gets down in the 60s. But, we're seeing our active listings right now kind of plateau for the summertime. I thought we'd start seeing them go down a little bit. I was right for 4 weeks. But now we've gone up, but we've only gone up by 200 homes there, 200 homes here. So at 200 homes a week, we may end up here at 19,000. So as we continue to climb, if sales don't follow that, there'll be pricing pressure on the downside, not pricing crash, but pricing pressure. The Kelly, hey everyone, welcome. Welcome. I did a survey on the community tab, just simply saying how many are going to watch a debate tonight. And I was surprised that 60% of you said no.
I think they're probably done. They're probably anticipating our YouTube channel coming out. I mean,
that's why. Yeah. So I don't have time because Pat and Rick are going to be on. So, but now that we're on before. So, and again, as you can tell, we moved it from Friday to today. It doesn't look like everybody will be following us yet. So I like watching your show. I'm not watching any debate. I'm a political junkie. I kind of enjoy watching that. I shake my head at some of the stupid questions that are asked.
Yeah.
What's your favorite food? I wanted to scream. Ask them this.
I'm not to get political, but just political is policy. That's what I mean. It's obviously a form of policy. So remember I told you the other day, I kind of started coming up with this. I'm not just thinking about this theory in my back about a year ago. Remember we talked about Barry Habib. I was talking to him about immigration with inflation. And the other day, I guess the Federal Reserve did admit that this immigration situation is contributing pretty severely to the inflation issue that we have in this country. I don't know. I didn't see the report, but I just saw it on a Fox Business News that they had said that the Federal Reserve did admit.
I read that as well.
That the Federal Reserve did finally admit that this immigration is having it's contributing to the inflation. But because you figure, I mean, you get an increase in people coming across, what we have. How many?
Everybody's got to live somewhere.
Everybody has to live somewhere. You got the education, you got the housing, you got the medical. It is. You got to believe that whatever number came across. I'm not going to get all, numbers. Because if I say numbers, it's going to be political. But that I thought that was interesting because I've been kind of saying that for the last year, thinking there's got to be some push from that end.
I can't remember who I was interviewing. It was pushing that out pretty hard too, saying that it's going to be tough.
Wasn't that Dan in Chicago? Maybe.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, Kelly's asking how the housing market's doing right now for sellers. Like I said, if you price it right, it's not too bad. It's not a bad time for sellers, except in some areas where there's a lot of new construction. So if you get down here to anything below Cave Creek, especially Buckeye and Maricopa, it's tough for sellers because you're competing with the new builds. But Chandler, the Cromford Market Index, anything above 110 is considered a seller's market. Chandler, Fountain Hills, Avondale, Tempe, Mesa, Glendale, Gilbert, Phoenix, they're all doing very well. And we've got example after example. I talked to Ruby yesterday, and she's running around like a one-armed paper hanger. And she's busy as all get out. And so's Jessica. Jessica's been on the road every day this week. And my house is worth $325. I live by Desert Ridge in North Phoenix. That's
a hot market. You should be able to, somebody could probably sell that in their sleep.
Yeah, $325, no doubt. Yeah,
that's it.
When you send, Kelly, email us the address. We'll send you that report we were talking about earlier. And so
it's 320. Whatever, 325 to $350, $400,000 range is a very, the house, if it's an attractive, well put together house, doesn't have to be anything special, but that's that sweet spot for financing, because people, if you got a decent house, I've seen houses that in the last 6 months, I've done financing for some people who bought 410, beautiful home for 410. This one first-time home buyer, Mauricio, got in, and townhome, 2-bedroom, 2-bath. Yeah, sounds perfect.
Make sure your condo, your HOA's got all their ducks in a row.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's yeah, just send me an email at rick@rickhelps.com. We'll fire out a report to you. So, well, Pat, I didn't look up to see what kind of drinking games there were for the debate. You know how those are. If they say this, you have to have a shot, and they say that, you got to have a shot. And,
Yeah, I saw one on one of the news networks that said, it was basically debate bingo. If Trump said MAGA, or if Biden says just believe whatever he says, or, I don't know.
yeah, got to have a drink. I just as soon watch it without getting all blithering drunk. So
Yeah, I
give
hear
me
you.
something to do tonight. So, but and and hopefully next week this raspiness will be gone. I was for the group I was sharing with Pat. I've had this. I'm going to get medical on you here because you're all my friends. I've had this little nagging cough, right, for like forever. So I went to a pulmonologist. Goofiest guy I ever met in my life, but I understand he's brilliant, but man, he's goofy. I mean, he just bounced around like a middle of the room, like, oh yeah, I think you have asthma. What? Yeah, I'm going to treat you for mild asthma. So he gives me this inhaler. I call it the death puff now. I did a couple days of that, and I ended up feeling worse. I had more of a cough. My voice was raspy. I got fatigued. I didn't hardly sleep. I sent him a note. I'm not taking this anymore. And the cure is worse than the disease. It's like, I can't remember the name of the stupid stuff, but it's kind of this powder that you inhale. And right after I puff it in, I mean, I just feel like crap. And I thought I'd just rather go back to having this little simple tickle in my throat and treat my allergies like I have been. But you can probably hear it on the show. It's like, God.
Not too bad.
So anyway, any doctors that are out there, reach out to me.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of economic news, I mean, it's kind of a weird market next week. We got 4th of July. Obviously on Thursday, we've got actually Powell's going to speak on Tuesday, July 2nd. And then there's a couple of Feds, there's another Fed speech on Wednesday. We got ADP jobs on Wednesday, jobless claims. But then we've got, the market's closed for Thursday. And then Friday, we've got unemployment for June. So that's about it, what we got. I think we're just going to see more muddling on. We're going to see the PCE numbers tomorrow. Could obviously cause a little bit of reaction. But it just seems to me more and more the last 4, 5, 6 months, we've seen on these rates that when the information does come out, if it's not anything crazy, the market just has kind of maybe a quick reaction, but then goes back to where it was the day before. So we're just kind of taking it all in. I mean, it's just, once again, muddling along. I think we're starting to develop this trend where we're going to be stuck in this rate for a bit of a time. I mean, I don't see the Feds really doing anything before the elections. If they do, I mean, there's talk now about doing it in September, but I think it'll be after the election. So I think just more of the same this next 6 months. That's just my prediction.
I will just call ourselves the Mud Brothers.
Yeah, exactly.
Kelly's saying how many days it takes to sell a house on average right now. That's always a hard one to look at because it really depends on the neighborhood, the price point. And when you look at days on market, even that's kind of
a loaded. I mean, how many days does it take to sell? I mean, we've seen people that, listen, they put it right. If it's priced right, they get a couple offers. It's really off the market in a couple days, or basically, right?
Yeah. It's on average with everything. It's 63 days. If I look at, I'll say
Condo, that's including the financing and all that, right? That's not, or
exactly,
is that
64 days? So it's homes under 350. Let me see here. So when it says 63 days, that's from the day you listed it and the day it closes. So you got 30 to 45 days in there for the appraisal, the inspection, and everything, the whole of the process. So this here is showing 48. That's actually pretty quick. Yeah. So that if you're going to close on average 48 days, you're getting a contract in the first week or two. So So that's where we're at on average across everywhere with all condos and townhomes. So I hope that helps. Well, I want to bid adieu to everybody, and whatever you're doing tonight, make the best of it and have a great weekend coming up, Pat.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
See ya.